Good morning, hockey fans. We are back with more breaking news in the National Hockey League as the Dallas Stars are making a trade with the San Jose Sharks this morning, Saturday, February the 1st, in a deal that will bring Mikeal, Granlund, and Cody Ceci to the Dallas Stars. They have a ton of LTIR room right now. Niels Lundqvist out for the year. Tyler Seguin, LTIR. You got Miro Heiskanen out long-term. Tons of LTIR pool money, and they're using it right away. They're weaponizing it ASAP, and they are acquiring Mikeal, Granlund, and Cody Ceci from the San Jose Sharks in a larger deal, which will likely have pieces going to maybe I would think prospect pieces. Liam Bichelle has been mentioned. It's just speculation for now, but there will be some pieces going San Jose's way. Dallas Stars right now do have all three of their next first round picks. No second this year. They have a third, a fourth, 2/5. Next year they have their first, a second, or third. So I would assume there's probably a first round pick involved here, as Mikeal Granlund has been great. He has been point per game ish. He's been close to point per game with the Sharks, eating huge minutes. But here's what we're going to start breaking down about Mikeal Granlund. Granlund in a support role has not been great. Will he be playing that support role with Dallas? That'll be the question. So we'll break down the trade once we have more details to it. But for now, for all you Dallas Stars fans out there, Mikeal Granlund, who are you getting? He's 32, going on 33 years of age. If we look over the San Jose Sharks, he is on an expiring $5 million deal. He'll be an expiring UFA. Right now, with the Sharks playing crazy minutes with them, 20 minutes per night, a career high in minutes, 2058 last year, 2051 this year, higher than he was playing in Minnesota or in Nashville. He's playing big minutes and he's putting up big numbers. 60 points in 69 games last year, 45 in 52 this year. In San Jose, 105 points in 121 games, negative 31, yes, but his best numbers in his career so far, I suppose, consistently have been in San Jose. Yes, his best season was in Nashville, scoring 64. And you know what? Let me take that back. His best years since Minnesota, but that's like 10 years ago now. So over the last decade, his best years have been coming this year and last year. Yes, 64 points in 80 games in Nashville, but the year before and the year after were nothing special. So his best back-to-back years are 23-24 and 24-25. That's his best since 2016-17 and 17-18, which is getting close to a decade ago at this point. So Mikeal Granlund in a support role has not been great, we have to admit. With Pittsburgh, they acquired him at the deadline in 2023, and in 21 games, he scored 1 goal and 5 points. We can't judge Mikeal Granlund just by that, but when given a support role, playing 15.5 minutes per night, and trying to be a support guy, it just didn't work at all. Give him a ton of ice time on a bad team and he'll flourish. 60 points in 69 games, 45 and 52. He's been great this year. The kids line is fantastic, playing with Will Smith, plus 14 in the last week or so, something like that. That's crazy. That's great. Now, put him in Dallas, I wonder if he'll be able to have that same success. Right now, all we know is that Mikeal Granlund and Cody Ceci are going to the Dallas Stars. That's all we know at the moment. More details will come out over the next few minutes or so. I waited to go live for a little bit because the details weren't coming just yet. Right now, we know it's Granlund and Ceci going to Dallas. Over in Dallas, when we look at their depth chart right now, Mikeal Granlund can instantly slot into their top 6, absolutely. You can bump a guy like Maverick Bourque out. I know he's been doing well, but you can bump him down. You have a third line of Bourque, Stankoven, Steele maybe. Dadonov's been playing fourth line, so put him on that fourth. Give me back Blackwell and let's say Dadonov. Third line, Bourque, Steele, Stankoven. And now my top 6 is Robertson, Hintz, Johnston, Ben, Duchesne, Granlund. So Granlund shouldn't have to play a third line support role. He should still be getting top 6 minutes. I wonder how it's going to look exactly once Seguin and Marchment, all these guys come back. I wonder what his role will be then. For right here, right now, I like Granlund's fit in Dallas. Bring back Marchment, bring back Seguin. I don't know if I like it as much. On defense, the Stars are going to be hoping to move out a guy like Matt Dumba probably. So they'll have Harley, Labushkin, Bichelle, Lindell, Kyrou, Dumba, and now Cody Ceci as the 7th. So Ceci definitely is coming into this top 6. Who of this top 6 are moving out? Would Kyrou get sent down? Would Bichelle get sent back down? Or is someone on this blue line getting moved? That's going to be the question. Right now, all we know, a lot of you asking in the comments, what's the trade? Right now, all we know is that Mikeal Granlund and Cody Ceci are going to the San Jose Sharks. The Dallas Stars from the San Jose Sharks. Yeah, that's the trade that we know so far. Why would San Jose sign Ceci and get rid of him that quick? They knew that they weren't going to be good. Well, the thing is, Dallas needs defense. So I think it's more that Dallas came and said, hey, we want to make a deal with you. We're getting a forward and a defenseman, as opposed to San Jose saying, hey, we want to desperately shop Cody Ceci. Cody Ceci is an expiring UFA, though, so I see the point of them trying to get value for him as well. They didn't sign Ceci, did I thought they had they got him from the Oilers trade, correct? Yeah, traded from the Oilers to the Sharks for that 3rd round pick. with a third round pick for Ty Emberson. So I don't think the Sharks ever gave a contract to Cody Ceci. I think I'm correct in saying that. So he's still playing out that contract that he signed with the Oilers. So with the Sharks, he's been doing okay, Cody Ceci. He's been playing bigger minutes than he was playing in Edmonton. Yeah, slightly, 21:46 per night in San Jose. He was playing 20 minutes per night in Edmonton, a bit over his head on an Edmonton team. In San Jose, it's, yes, again, over his head a little bit, but at least he's doing so with less expectations. 100 blocks over 54 games, 52 hits. I like that for Cody Ceci. Decent-ish point production, solid enough defensively on a bad team, like doing enough defensively. Not solid enough, I should say doing enough defensively on a bad team. There was talk last night that the Canucks had discussed a move for Cody Ceci from San Jose as well. Clearly, that ended when things heated back up for Marcus Pettersson, and now the Stars end up with Ceci and Granlund. Very interesting. So Ceci, close to going to Vancouver, the Canucks end up flipping their first from the JT Miller trade to the Penguins and get Marcus Pettersson instead, and now it's Cody Ceci going to Dallas to help them out on the blue line, as well as Mikeal Granlund, who's going to be a big help for their top six right now. But again, continue giving him those first, second line minutes. He has shown great ability. Give him less than that, like when he was playing in Pittsburgh, playing 14, 15 minutes per night, 1 goal, 5 points in 21 games. He can't really seem to support that, for lack of a better term, support the support role. Meanwhile, Dallas will be able to give him that role right now. Put him in the top six. Give me a top six of Robertson, Hintz, Johnson, Ben, Duchesne, and Granlund. That's great. But bring back Mason Marchment. Bring back Tyler Seguin. I'm not sure if they're going to have as much room for Mikeal Granlund and if he'll thrive at the same level that he's been thriving in San Jose. His last 2 years with the Sharks have been incredible. He scored 105 points in 121 games. Yes, negative 31. But again, give him just the leash to do what he wants to do. Give him the young players, give him no expectations, and that's great. When things were different in Nashville and Pittsburgh, wasn't quite the same. Granlund's been part of some big trades here. He was traded for Kevin Fiala from the Wild back in 2019. Then there was that trade that had him go from the Predators to the Penguins for a second-round pick. That had people scratching their head a little bit, and for good reason, as things didn't work out in Pittsburgh. And then he was traded from the Penguins to the Sharks in the Erik Karlsson deal, where now the Sharks are getting further value by now flipping him with Cody Ceci, who they got basically as a thank you from the Oilers for taking on his contract. And now they'll get value back from the Dallas Stars. So as much as it hurts to lose Mikeal Granlund as a Sharks fan, this is a great deal for them in ROI, return on investment. Landon, welcome aboard. Landon is waiting with bated breath to see what's going to happen in this trade return. Yeah, Ceci, solid middle pair guy for sure. Middle bottom pairing guy, no problem. For Dallas, they've been having to give such big minutes to Matt Dumba and Ilya Lyubushkin. That is fine by me, and that's fine by Dallas fans. I think, especially a team with so much money, they can take on Cody Ceci without having to bat an eye. They look at all the money that they have in their LTIR pool. They have $12.297 million in their LTIR pool right now, with Lundqvist out for the season, Seguin out long term, Heiskanen out long term. They need help on the blue line, so their blue line now can be Harley and Cody Ceci is right-handed. Yes, he is. Shoots right. So give me, let's say, a top pair now. Maybe it's going to be Harley, Lindell, Bichelle if he stays in Ceci. Then your third pair is a mix of Kyrou, Dumba, and Lyubushkin. But I would think that someone in those six names are moving back to San Jose. If I'm a Sharks fan, I'm hoping it's Liam Bichelle. If I'm a Stars fan, I'm hoping it's Matt Dumba. Either way, like if it's Dumba and a first, I don't think that's enough for Granlund and Ceci. The Stars have value. They have all three of their next first-round picks. No second this year. So I would assume that the return here at the base is a 2025 first-round pick going to San Jose. But on top of that, there has to be some younger pieces here being involved too. And I'm hoping, if I'm a Stars fan, that's not Liam Bichelle, that's not Emil Hemming. I doubt it would be. But there are some good other younger players who have some potential in the system. Antonio Stranges, Francesco Arcuri, on defense, Tristan Bertucci, Kairos, we said on the blue line as well. Not much goaltending wise. Yeah, it's not like they have a crazy deep prospect pool, but they have some good 21, 22-year-old guys that I would be interested in if I'm San Jose, along with a first-round pick for 2 expiring UFAs. Again, ROI, return on investment. I like that ROI if I'm a Sharks fan. Okay, I'm just scrolling through a few other things here on the side. Some of you are leaving your comments. Dumba and a first, it wouldn't make sense for San Jose because San Jose would have no value for Matt Dumba. Dumba would just be a roster piece. Like if Dumba is going back with a first round pick, it would be Dumba. It would just be a first basically in terms of value that you can actually use. Matt Dumba's contract is going to expire. The Sharks have nothing to do for him. It's not there's no value for San Jose when it comes to Matt Dumba. Dumba not on ice for practice. So again, Dumba could be involved in this deal, absolutely, but it can't just be Dumba and a first because Dumba has no value for this. The Sharks have no interest in Matt Dumba. It doesn't fit what they're doing at all. So just eating a contract, sure, that works fine, but it has to be, I would think, a 2025 first, maybe Matt Dumba. That's true. He has 2 or 3 years, yes, but that makes it even more reason the Sharks wouldn't be interested in taking him on. Matt Dumba is how old again? Matt Dumba is 30, signed on for next year at 3.75. Maybe it's similar to the Cody Ceci trade where they took on Ceci, they used him for a little bit, and then once he was an expiring UFA, they flipped him for value. Maybe I could see that, perhaps. But again, just to say, Dumba and a first, especially in the 2025 draft, would not be enough for me to move the needle on return on Granlund and or hold on. First and a fourth that can turn into a third is the return to San Jose for Ceci and Granlund. Okay, so I wonder if Dumba's involved here, but it looks like it's going to be a first and a conditional fourth that can turn into a third for Granlund and Ceci. So the trade, as we know now, Dumba's still a question mark, so I won't say anything yet. What we know right now is the San Jose Sharks are acquiring a first-round pick and a fourth that could turn into a third, so as high as a first and a third, in exchange for 2 expiring UFAs in Granlund and Ceci. That's what we know right now. If Dallas goes to the Cup Final, that's the condition. So it's a first and a fourth going to San Jose. But if the Dallas Stars make it to the Stanley Cup Final, that fourth turns into a third, and the Sharks will have acquired a first and a third for 2 expiring UFAs. Yeah, I don't love it. I don't hate it either. I think that's kind of like deadline value. But at this point in February, where there's still more than how many games left for the Sharks? There's still another 40 games to be played. It's not like there's 20 games left here at the deadline or whatever else it might be. Sorry, not 40. There's 30 games. There's 30 games left, not 18, not 17. There's 30 games left in the season here. I would think that his value, that's probably what gets the fourth and the third as opposed to just the first. That feels like a trade for Granlund. To throw in Ceci as well, yes, it doesn't have a ton of value, but I would have thought a first and a guaranteed third plus maybe something else, as opposed to a first and a fourth that might become a third, and we don't even know if anything else is involved here. Landon saying earlier that Matt Dumba was not on the ice for practice, but I'm not seeing anything on Matt Dumba right now. Yeah, if Dumba is in this trade, it's a win-win. The Sharks could get value for him. If it's a first, a fourth, that could be a third, and Dumba that could become whatever, a third or a second in the future, that's one thing. But if it's just 2 picks, that feels like a trade for Granlund. I don't know. I like it other than Ceci, says Landon. Not a big fan of Cody Ceci. The thing is, I guess beggars can't be choosers with Heiskanen out right now. I suppose that's what that's the issue that the Stars are facing. Is it ideal? No. But are there many other options? Not only in terms of a trade, but in a team that has 2 pieces for me. The Stars needed a top 6 forward and a top 4 defenseman, or a second, third pair defenseman. And they get both those pieces in one trade for 1 first and a fourth that could become a third. They don't have to make separate trades of a first for one guy, a second for another guy, a prospect involved somewhere else. They have to make one trade with the Sharks. So if I'm San Jose, I'm glad to be getting ROI again. I'm glad to be getting value. Granlund, I got him in the Carlson deal. Cody Ceci, I got him as a cap dump from the Oilers. And now I'm getting back a first and a fourth, maybe a first and a third. So for San Jose, you can't complain too much. But at the same time, Mikeal Granlund has been the guy. He's been the guy. So Ceci and Granlund for a 2025 first and a 2025 fourth, Winnipeg's pick. If Dallas makes the final this year, it'll upgrade to a 2025 third instead. Seems like that is it for the trade here, ladies and gentlemen. So I'll close the lead in Bichelle. The Sharks fans can rejoice on that. So Stars give up their 2025 first and their 2025 fourth that they have from Winnipeg, I see. So that leaves them with no first, no second, no fourth. Only a third round pick in the 2025 draft, each in the first 4 rounds. And that fourth could become a third. So imagine if the Stars make the Stanley Cup Final, they have no first, no second, and no third in 2025. Yeah, this isn't great for the Dallas's draft pick value, but at the same time, they're trying to chase a cup right now. they're hopefully expecting a Stanley Cup Final, as the condition of that trade is a Cup Final, not just the playoffs, not just the second round, the third round. That expectation on that of the condition of that draft pick is making the Stanley Cup Final. Meanwhile, the San Jose Sharks will now have 2 firsts in 2025 as they'll start stockpiling picks, I think, as the deadline gets closer. They still have an expiring UFA in Luke Cunnin. They have Nico Sturm. They have Jan Ruda, another piece of the Penguins trade, 2 expiring UFA goalies. I'm sure they could find some more value, but for right now, they get 2 firsts in 2025, a second, maybe 2 thirds, or maybe 2 fourths. So the Sharks, for a rebuilding team, I'd like them to have some more picks, honestly, but they have their main guys. They have Smith, they have Celebrini, they have Eklund, they have their main pieces. They have Dickinson. It's not a big deal to say, okay, the Sharks draft pick pool isn't that great. They've already made their selections. This is their core. Now it's just time for them to get older and get more experience. So it's not the end of the world. I'm sure the Sharks would like to keep getting more picks, which is why they're getting a first. Absolutely. So in the full deal here, the Dallas Stars take on $8.25 million in cap space, which is perfectly fine with all the LTIR cap space they have. Granlund expiring deal, Ceci expiring deal, and they'll take back a first and a conditional third or fourth. So yeah, it's really it's a conditional fourth, right? Because the fourth that could become a third. It's not a conditional third that could become a fourth. It's a fourth that could become a third. So I would phrase that as a conditional 4th round pick. Because that conditional, I guess technically it's conditional third, whatever. It's a third or fourth, but more likely a fourth, unless the Stars make the Stanley Cup Final. So trade details confirmed. Granlund and Ceci for a first and that conditional pick. No Liam Bichelle, no Matt Dumba. So the Stars will have a 7 D-men right now on their blue line. They'll bring in Cody Ceci on the right side. Maybe Dumba can be shifted into 7th D at times. He has not been very good at all. They get to keep Bichelle, which is huge as well. And when Miro Heiskanen comes back on the left side, that's going to be probably Christian Kyrou moving out on the left side or getting sent down or whatever. Now, the San Jose Sharks, they still have to end off a season here. So now Eklund, Celebrini, Toffoli, Zetterlund, Cunnin, and Smith is their top 6. They have a couple openings here. On defense, Thompson would slot in there, I suppose. Yeah, they're going to survive. They're going to keep on trucking to the end of the season. But yeah, Kyrou will be sent down tomorrow, says Landon. Yeah, so that's probably where they make the... That's probably where things get réglé on the blue line. Jiggle saying, I think Granlund on his own was worth a second. Adding CC upgrades it. Really? Especially with $5 million on the cap and no retention. They weren't getting a first for Granlund. You don't think so? I don't know. He's been a 60 points in 69 games last year, 45 and 52 this year. I would think that at the trade deadline, you can get a first round pick for that in a weaker draft class, especially. And $5 million, yes, is $5 million, but it's not like 8. $5 million. If there was going to be some retention involved at the deadline, it would be a first plus. But just on his own, I think we've seen trade deadline deals where players making $5 million with point trajectories like that, point production like that, have received first round picks. Now, the question will be, how does Dallas use him? In the right now, as a top 6 forward, there's no problem for Mikeal Granlund to slot into the top 6. But when Marchment, when Sagan, when those guys come back, can Granlund continue to be valuable in a support role? We've seen him not be able to do so, especially in Pittsburgh. 21 games, 1 goal, 4 assists, 5 points when acquired at the 2023 deadline. Goes to San Jose, does amazing things there. 105 points as a Shark over the course of parts of 2 seasons. Now he'll get a chance in Dallas as an expiring UFA to try to show the league that he is not just a guy who does it with big ice time, but when still given a second line role or maybe even later a third line role, he could produce and not only first line garbage time. Going back here, solid move for both clubs, says Dave Pagnotta. Yes. Going back here. That's it. If Adam Henrique cost a first round pick, then I would think that Mikeal Granlund would cost a first as well. Landon saying Marchment, Granlund, Duchesne when Marchment comes back. Yeah, I could see that as well. There's a lot of different permutations for the Dallas Stars. They essentially will have like 10 or 11 top 9 forwards, right? Sorry, where am I going? The Stars right now, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 6 in Granlund, plus 7 in Marchment, plus 8 in Sagan. You have like 8 top 6 forwards. And then if you're looking at the top 9 with Stankoven on the third line, Bork on the third line, yeah, you have about 11-ish top 9 forwards. So your fourth line, a guy like Dadonov who play on the third line will find himself in the fourth. A guy like Steele, who can play third line, will likely find himself in the fourth. Stuff like that will start to happen. And that's what you want. You want to have that depth up and down your lineup if you're going to be a Stanley Cup contending team. So bringing in a forward, not only Granlund coming in, but the players who will come back later from injury for the Stars will be a huge help, huge reinforcements for them down the stretch. That will be big. Ceci on the blue line is helpful, whether or not Heiskanen is there. Here's the full trade for you right there. Granlund and Ceci to Dallas for a 2025 first and a conditional third, a fourth that could become a third, depending on how you want to phrase it. Yeah, and Brendan Smith is a defenseman as well. Yeah, there's the return right now. That's what we have on this trade this morning. Lots of trades over the last few days, over the last week, I should say. How is Dallas's prospect pool? Well, if you just want to quickly take a peek at that, Dallas's prospect pool, it's nothing crazy. They have some 21 and 22, 23-year-old guys in there. Emil Hemmings, they're probably their biggest guy. Then the 21, 22-year-olds got Stranges, you got Semenov, you got Arcuri, guys who might fill bottom six roles. But for like future top six forwards, I don't see much here for the Stars. On defense, Bertucci's probably their top guy aside from Kyrou. Kyrou's probably the biggest one, but he's playing in the NHL right now. Depends on what you define as a prospect. And goaltending, no one really there, but that's okay because Jake Ottinger is that guy long term. It depends. Are we counting Liam Bichelle as a prospect as well? If you count Bichelle and Kyrou's prospects, then there's your blue line guys. Thomas Harley is still only 23. So the Stars are not in a bad place. They have good young players. Prospect pool, guys who have not made the NHL yet, there's nothing that interesting to me. But give me Bork, Johnston, Stankoven, all these guys who are 21, 22, 23 in the NHL, and they'll be just fine. I'm just talking about guys purely who have not made the NHL yet. Guys who are in the system. I'm not that blown away by the Stars pool, but they have young players who are in the NHL now. Bork, Stankoven, Johnston, Bichelle, Kyrou, all these guys are what, like 22 and under? All those guys are great. So the prospect pool is nothing special, but their good young talent is exceptional. That's how I would phrase it for you right there. Landon saying, I hope we aren't done. We still have money to spend and hope to move off Dumba. Well, now looking at the LTIR pool that the Stars have remaining, they had 12.297. Still hasn't been updated yet. Okay, no, sorry, that's still the pool. So their projected cap space, or sorry, no, their current cap space, my apologies, my head's all over the place. Their current cap space with the LTIR pool is 2.85 million. So 2.85 million is their current cap space. If you're going to be bringing back your LTIR guys like Sagan and whatever, you're going to have to free up some money. And that's where dumping a guy like Dumba might make sense for you. So Ceci and Granlund taken on right now is no problem at all. But if Nils Lundkvist is not coming back, but you will have Tyler Sagan's, 9.85 million. That'll be tough to try and make room for. So the Stars, I wouldn't think that they're done yet. They'd have to free up some more room, I would think. And I suppose them taking all that money on is why the value wasn't what it could have been in a separate deal. If I'm San Jose, I would think that the Sharks probably could have traded Granlund for a first at the deadline and Ceci for maybe a second or a third. So instead of getting a first and a fourth for those two today, and maybe it upgrades to a first and a third, they probably could have waited another month and gotten a first and a second or a first and a guaranteed third. But is it worth risking another month of hopefully they're healthy and hopefully they're still producing? I don't think so. The Sharks made a good deal today. It's fine by me. Could have been a little bit more in the future, maybe, but you can't risk that always. They get good ROI on pieces that they essentially got almost for free. And then now the Dallas Stars get to have kind of placeholders for their current LTIR guys. They get to have pieces that they can hopefully trust to continue to get the job done while their Heiskanens and Sagans of the world are out, and Marchman, etc. Stars use up a huge chunk of their LTIR space, taking on Granlund and Ceci at full boat, one of the only teams that could afford to do that. And it was a must for San Jose, who had no salary retention spots left. That's true, but still got a real solid return considering that limitation. Yeah, I think that's well put by fake Frank Saravalli. I'm just kidding. There was a couple of fake news things the last couple of weeks where he made the Kotkaniemi mistake in the Hurricanes deal. Yeah. First isn't a bad deal then. No, it isn't. Could they have gotten a little bit more, like I just said, in a month from now? Maybe. But I think there's no need to risk that. And there's not a lot of trade partners that could take on all that salary, especially as the Sharks are unable to retain. This was a perfect match organizationally. The Stars and the Sharks were perfect dance partners here. And now, Sagan's out for the entire year? I thought it was just Lundkvist out for the entire year. You're sure about that? Sagan's out the entire season. I thought it was long term, but like back for the playoffs type thing. Lundqvist, I know he's out for the year, but Marchment will be coming back. We know that. Let me see this. Tyler Seguin injury out 4 to 6 months in December. So it's not okay. So you could see him in a Stanley Cup run. You could see him at end of May, maybe start of, I don't know, end of May, start of June type thing. Miss the year and probably first. So you could see him second, third, or Stanley Cup final round. That's a possibility. So Seguin is probably not as big of an issue if he comes back from LTIR. It's more Miro Heiskanen coming back from injury that you're looking forward to, as well as Mason Marchment. So I've been saying that Seguin coming back will be a big thing for the Stars, but who knows if the Stars are still playing hockey once he's healthy. Yeah. Does Granlund or Ceci resign in Dallas? I don't know if they'd have the money to do that next season. You got the buyout for Ryan Suter's going to be costing a little bit more next year as well. Yeah. So here's the trade, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me for this breaking news trade this morning. Subscribe if you haven't already and hit that bell for breaking news as it happens. Instant reaction and analysis for all the trades in the National Hockey League, especially as the trade deadline is approaching. Hit that bell to be notified when we go live for our franchise modes, career sims on NHL 25, all that stuff going on here on the channel, plus the real world of hockey. If you enjoy that, this channel is for you, so check it out. We'd love to have you join. Mikeal Granlund and Cody Ceci, 2 expiring contracts. Mikeal Granlund, who's great when given the ice time, but not as serviceable in a support role. With Cody Ceci, who's again been playing big minutes. Can he continue to support in Dallas when on a contending team? So 2 pieces for the Stars to help them out with their injury trouble and to use up their LTIR space. The Sharks get to bring back a first-round pick and a 4th that could become a 3rd in exchange for dumping 2 UFAs that they got almost for free. Great ROI and no salary retention on $8.25 million or whatever in caps in total. As a team that can't retain any more salary, that works for them. The Stars don't give up Bichelle or anything else. They don't give up any other prospects. They give up a couple picks. It doesn't look great for their draft pick situation now with no firsts, no seconds, no 4ths in 2025, but they are going all in. Meanwhile, the San Jose Sharks, they have to continue having some prospects in their system. They are already a young team, and they're going to get younger with 2 firsts this year, a second, a third, 2 fourths. And lots of cap space. They can't retain, but they could take on. So if a team needs to dump cap space to somebody, the San Jose Sharks could take that on in exchange for picks. And that could absolutely be their MO come the trade deadline. So there you go. Thanks for being here, everybody. Glad you could make it into this Saturday morning stream. We'll be live again later this weekend if there's any more trades. We were live twice yesterday with the Miller and the Pettersson trades. We're live here this morning with the Granlund trade. What do you think about it? Who wins and why? Let me know in the comments down below here on YouTube or over in the Discord server, link in the description. Leave a like if you enjoyed. And of course, as I mentioned, subscribe to not miss out on any news as it happens. Looking forward to reading more of your thoughts because it's an interesting one. How will it play out for the Dallas Stars? They're hoping they can push for the Stanley Cup final. Will Granlund and Ceci be the pieces that will help them once healthy as well? That's yet to be seen. A lot to think about in this one. How will the Sharks use their cap space? There's still much more to come in the National Hockey League, and I'm looking forward to being here live with you to break it all down. Thanks, everybody. Have a great start to your weekend, and we'll talk soon.